Welcome back to the Quiet Millionaire, where we don't chase wealth, we regulate into it. Ever notice how even rest feels like failure? Not just slowing down, but even pausing on a Saturday morning when your neighbors are asleep and your household is quieter than usual, but you still feel tension under your ribs. Or those days when the inbox is finally under control, and instead of feeling relief, your body gets antsy as if you missed something urgent. What most people call free time, your system registers as a threat. That's not a mindset block. It's your nervous system pattern. Ever feel like slowing down is more terrifying than burning out? Here's what that looks like. You put the phone down at 7 p.m., and within minutes, you're pacing, opening the fridge, or scrolling some feed you don't care about. There's no fire to put out, yet the urge is there. An alarm clock buried so deep you can't see it, just feel it. Even vacations become performance. Mapping out the calendar, rehearsing your out-of-office message, trying to make your absence productive. It's not a glitch. This is your body chasing the stress it's used to. Let that land. Ever wonder why urgency still runs your mornings, even when you know better? No notification told you. No boss demanded it. But your spine tightens anyway. Alarm off. Feet on the floor. Immediate sense of running late. For what? You can't always say. You catch yourself racing the coffee maker as if it's a threat. A quiet morning never stays quiet. That's a sign your default mode is survival, not sovereignty. Most high-achieving people never admit this, but you don't need to admit it for it to run your life. You already know this today. We're not talking mindset. We're addressing what's underneath your money behavior, beneath the choices, beneath the discipline you perform for clients, family, team. There's a deeper contract your nervous system signed, probably years ago. It sounds like, keep moving. Don't let off the gas. Don't risk losing your edge. You've internalized what pays, speed, output, vigilance, and it's built a trapdoor under your plans. That trap isn't dramatic, but it's real. It's the reason hours off feel useless and why actual rest never restores you. This isn't about weakness. The cost is simple, measurable, and it compounds. Most entrepreneurs hit a phase where they don't remember why they started. Enthusiasm turns into maintenance. Breakthrough becomes maintenance. There's no permission for idling, and your nervous system stops trusting downtime. So it turns everything, even fun, even sleep, into another metric to optimize. You track your REM cycles. You turn walking into another target. No moment is just lived. Every moment is mined for ROI. And wealth, it slips out quietly, not through reckless spending, but through invisible depletion, energy lost on noise, not vision. Your body keeps score. If this shows up in your week, pause there. This isn't theory. This is your nervous system adapting. Real wealth, the kind you're chasing, can't stick to a dysregulated life. When your baseline is on edge, money amplifies tension. Your nervous system mistakes abundance for threat. You start defending what used to feel expansive. You build more, but feel less. That's the cycle. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be true. There's nothing to prove here. Every time you override your need for deep, guiltless rest, you reinforce the pattern. Small moments, skipping a lunch break because you're on a roll, ignoring your own calendar block labeled walk because calls spill over, pausing for dinner, but taking your phone with you. The nervous system watches. It logs these repetitions. It learns that collapse is the only way to get rest. So rest becomes collapse, not restoration. That's the invisible cost. You condition yourself to associate stillness with danger, performance with safety. Over time, your system forgets how to actually land anywhere that isn't urgent. Here is what I want you to try. The next time you find yourself fidgeting in stillness, notice your body, not your thoughts. Body first. Where does the tension concentrate? Your jaw, shoulders, the pit of your stomach. Don't fix it. Don't redirect. For 60 seconds, just witness it. That's the discipline. No drama. You're not optimizing here. You're collecting data from your own body. Let that be enough. Here's the sabotage pattern. You don't recognize it as sabotage, but it is. You wake up, and the first thing your hand reaches for is your phone. Not because you're excited, but because your brain, your body, your entire nervous system believes something urgent might have happened while you slept. Before your feet are even on the floor, your system's already in a low simmer, vigilance, not peace. That's not a flaw. It's a pattern, one you've rehearsed over and over until it looks natural. You've normalized burnout, called it progress, the idea that anything short of tension is laziness. That is what gets rehearsed in the body. You put in long days, take calls after hours, listen for Slack pings while you're supposed to be eating dinner. You keep your phone on in the shower, not because someone's calling, but because the thought of missing something makes your chest tighten just a little bit. It looks like commitment. What it is, an unspoken agreement with yourself, carved into your habits, where safety only comes after every box is checked, every fire put out. That's a fantasy. Nobody ever gets all the fires out, so you apologize for a day off. Maybe you even hide it. Half a weekend away from email means double the anxiety when you're back. Even family notices. You might say you're just ambitious or hustling for your future, but underneath, the real contract is with tension. Your nervous system is looped into a quiet overdrive that never switches fully off, and you're not alone in it. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be true. The real tells always show up in the routines no one else sees. Planning your next 3 steps while pretending to listen at dinner. A knot in your stomach before you check your bank account, even when the numbers look fine. Sneaking quick glances at your calendar just to be sure you didn't miss something. You already know this. The exhaustion isn't just physical, it's deep, layered in the way you hold your jaw, the way you rush through small moments that could be quiet. Here's what I want you to try. Pause and notice what's automatic. The pace you keep isn't just about money. Rest feels like risk, not relief. If you do happen to have some time without a deadline, you create one. That's the trap. If you only feel safe in motion, stillness becomes terrifying. You're not failing at relaxation, you're simply wired for tension. That might have kept you alive at one point, but it won't make you wealthy in a quiet way. That's the discipline. This is where most people get stuck. Naming this loop honestly, without blaming themselves. Most content will tell you to push through, grind smarter, or find better hacks. But you are not broken for building like this. It's a legacy pattern. Maybe you learned it in households where exhaustion got praised. Maybe you survived by keeping the plates spinning a little faster than the people around you. When you finally do slow down, irritation creeps in, guilt follows, quiet but sharp. You reach for your phone, you check another box, the system calms for a second, then the loop restarts. If this shows up in your week, pause there, see it, without running from it. Self-abandonment doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it looks like success. Sometimes it even looks like discipline, late nights, skipped meals, never letting yourself fully log off, apologizing for your boundaries before you even hold them, resenting your body for needing rest, even as you tell everyone else the importance of self-care. Now that we see it, let's shift. The first move isn't to change all your habits in one sweep. The first move is to name the cost. Tension as currency leaves you overdrawn every time. It won't stop by itself. Nothing will make you wrong for how you got here. But if you're listening now, it means you want something quieter, something that runs deep and doesn't burn you up in the process. There's nothing to prove. Every small shift you allow, even the ones no one else notices, is a new contract, not with hustle, but with capacity. Let that land. Let's flip this. Most people are looking for a sense of safety. On the other side of hitting some number, they believe, if I just make enough, if I finally get to that milestone, then my body will relax. Then I'll rest. But the truth is simpler. If your system isn't regulated before the wealth comes in, it will find ways to push abundance out or make it so uncomfortable you can't hold it for long. It's not dramatic. It's not a revelation. It's basic nervous system physics. The body that's always braced for impact, that scans for threat in the inbox or the bank account, that body is locked. Nothing gets in, and if it does, it doesn't stay. Think about the way soil works. You already know this. If the soil is dry, cracked, and hard, the rain just runs off. It doesn't penetrate. So if your system is dry and hardened by chronic stress, no matter how much you water it with business strategy, productivity, or information, nothing takes root. No well stays in a field like that. Let that land. Now, consider how this shows up, not just in the way you feel, but in what you do with your actual money. When rest is treated as a reward you haven't earned yet, you get locked into the hustle loop. You check your balances compulsively, not to learn, but to brace. You might keep cash to close because you don't trust yourself with investing, or you rush into investments out of panic that you're behind. You negotiate smaller deals just to lock in something, because your body can tolerate sitting with uncertainty. This isn't theory. This is your nervous system adapting. Rest, real regulated rest, is the precondition for strategic clarity. When you actually let yourself slow down without shame or apology, you give your nervous system evidence that it's safe to receive. That's what wealthy people who stay wealthy have mastered. Their baseline is not urgency, it's order. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be true. You build it by creating micro moments each day where you practice pausing before reacting. When the market drops, instead of frantic rebalancing, you sit and feel your feet. When a client misses a payment, you elongate your exhale before sending the message. That's the discipline. Here's what I want you to try. Treat regulated rest not as a victory lap, but as the baseline requirement. Build your calendar, your negotiation signals, even your compensation structure around what lets your system stay open. One client started by blocking 20-minute walks between deep work blocks, not out of self-care, but because she noticed her decision quality drop when her heart rate never settled. For another, rest meant removing the always-on chat notifications. He didn't fight his distracted energy. He just made the channel silent outside of set windows. The real financial shift didn't show up as more hustle. It showed up in the month where he didn't undersell his proposal out of fear. Create these pockets of safety deliberately. Anchor this once. Repeat when it wobbles. Most people, if they ever let themselves rest, criticize themselves for taking the moment. They get up before the movie ends. They power through the lunch hour because the nervous system was never signaled. You are safe even when you are not in motion. So here's the real logic, not the mindset spin, but the actual functional order. If you want capacity for more cash, more negotiation, more risk, the body must feel safe first, not last. That means accounting for regulated rest, non-negotiable structure, and micro habits that ground your day. You pick a time, you stick to it. That's the frame. If this shows up in your week, pause there. When you feel yourself catastrophizing a business dip or pushing past your own signals to close another deal, wait 1 minute longer in quiet. Notice how quickly your mind races to fill the gap. That's the proof that your system is still equating urgency with survival. Only when regulated safety is daily, not conditional, can you let more in and want to keep it. Most people never get that far. They chase quantity and call it abundance. But abundance is capacity. You build it in the nervous system, not just the portfolio. Build capacity, not speed, and watch what changes when safety is the baseline, not the treat at the end. Most entrepreneurs run their days like the building is on fire. It starts first thing before you're out of bed. The pulse has already quickened. You open the phone. Something needs you. Immediate urgency. You haven't even had water, and there is a part of you well trained by years of survival that believes this is what good leadership looks like. Always on. Always tense for the next email, call, fire drill. But it isn't leadership. It's just chemistry. A regulated nervous system runs the company. Not thinking positive. Not another podcast. Not 5 more workflow hacks where your body is in fight or flight. You think you're making business decisions, but you're actually just managing threats. Every email looks bigger than it is. Every no looks dangerous. Every delay feels like a mistake that will cost you your reputation. You already know this. The drama isn't in the market. It's just on loop inside your body. If you measure your week by how little chaos you survived, you've missed the actual work. Let that land. Quiet order isn't built from avoiding panic. It's built from facing discomfort and not letting your hands shake the keyboard. It's in how you read a new client request without racing to reply. It's the difference between, "I'll get back to you this afternoon," instead of, "Sure, let me drop everything and fix it now." If you listen, your body will tell you when the CEO is no longer in the room. Palm sweat, jaw tenses, your head spins while reading a Slack notification when you know, logically, isn't a crisis, but somewhere inside, old panic carries the meeting. The longer you run on cortisol, the less clarity you have. You see it in how you block your day, say yes to 6 calls, then wonder why you can't think by Friday. That's the discipline. Deciding not to lead from survival, but from breath, stillness, not theory, details. Every calendar block, every email, every quick call, these shape the nervous system running your business. Here's what I want you to try. Next time you catch yourself speeding up, feel your hands. Notice the urge to check again if the deal went through, or if the review landed. Resist it. Sit back in your chair, let your breath slow down, and do nothing for 10 full seconds. Then respond. That's regulation. It is not about fixed routines, it is about not letting your animal brain set the day's pace. Most never see how their exhaustion is designed by their smallest micro-reactions. The nervous system is invisible, but it's in every spreadsheet, every quarter result. Wealth measured not by new targets, but by how few emergencies you have to clean up when you act from calm. Bring this home to how you say no. Do you drop into defensiveness, a fast apology, or do you stand in the discomfort, state your terms, and let silence hold? Example, you get a last-minute invite to a strategic meeting. Body says, say yes, avoid conflict, but regulation knows you'll show up empty, so you decline. Simple, uncomfortable. You survived. Decision gets clearer. Mind trusts the body. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be true. This is where most people get stuck. They think slowing down is lazy or missing out. The opposite is true clarity in the body is what frees you to actually build. A regulated nervous system makes the ordinary tolerable. You can't design a stable company in chronic panic. You can't build clarity with a hand that shakes. The real edge isn't more willpower. It's the boring, daily art of returning to regulation every time you lose it. The more you practice, the steadier your cash flow, the more you track your breath before a negotiation, the more predictable your outcomes. This is a real business advantage, not a soft skill. If this shows up in your week, pause there. Mark it down. Success is measured by how quickly you recover your clarity, not by how little you react. That's your real scoreboard. So right here, before you close out, let's anchor the capacity, not potential. I pause before I respond. I create rhythm that protects me. I build clarity through structure. I choose rest without guilt. I let my nervous system guide the pace, not the market. I withstand other people's urgency without absorbing it. I set terms that keep me resourced. I remember, safety is the yield. Quiet wealth is built on capacity. Quiet wealth is built on capacity. Quiet wealth is built on capacity. Let's flip this. Most of what you think about receiving is wrong. You probably act like abundance is rare, like a random guest that shows up and, if you're lucky, stays for a meal. If you're building quietly, if you're working in silence, it's easy to make receiving feel like a fluke, something you chase and maybe catch a few times before it slips away. That's a myth. Receiving is a skill. It's not an accident. It's a slow, measurable way your nervous system says yes to what comes your way. That yes isn't a sentence. It's safety. You already know this, even if you haven't called it that before. Watch how your body reacts next time someone offers you help. Notice how you tense, how you get ready to justify, "I've got it," even if you're exhausted. That's your built-in pattern. The moment help is offered, your system tries to prove you can do it alone. Here's what I want you to try. Next time someone offers you a compliment, don't deflect. Don't joke. Don't say, oh, it was nothing. Pause. Let the words hang in the air for just one more breath than usual. Notice where your body wants to contract, where you want to move away. This is the gateway. Receiving starts at that first edge, the place where your nervous system wants to reject. Most people don't notice this moment. They've trained themselves since childhood to minimize what's given. Don't make it about me. I don't want to owe anyone. That's where the block is born. It's practical, not mystical. It happens in meetings, in text threads, in simple handshakes. Think about payments. When someone pays you for your work, how quickly do you try to prove value? If you apologize for your price or immediately over-deliver, that's your flinch. The money arrives, but your body doesn't trust it. You hustle to deserve it after the fact. It's not conscious. It's trained. Most entrepreneurs are running on this old agreement. Only act worthy after something lands, not before. No wonder you worry it'll disappear. Let that land. This isn't a fix, it's a frame. Receiving is muscle memory. Childhood taught you if it's safe to be visible. If grown-ups celebrated you or if celebration meant more pressure, more eyes, or more unpredictable emotion. So now, decades later, your system chooses caution. Don't stand out. Don't want too much. Don't accept unless you can repay with performance. Good behavior keeps you. In scarcity, quietly, it trains you to resist ease. If someone tells you, you did a great job, notice your urge to show humility quickly. Accepting praise feels risky not because you're humble, but because your body remembers what happened last time. If this shows up in your weak, pause there. Don't analyze it. Don't explain it away. Just track the flinch, the place your shoulders tense when someone gives you attention or thanks you for a job well done. This isn't about ego. You're retraining your nervous system to not shrink on contact. Sometimes the hardest moment is letting the compliment just stay without shrinking, without apology. That's the discipline. Help is another doorway. When someone offers genuine support, maybe they want to pick up groceries or send you a referral or buy lunch, watch what comes up. Your mouth may say thanks. Your body may not. It might brace. It might promise to get them back next time. That, too, is a form of blocked receiving. Childhood rules come up here. Don't owe anyone. Don't be a burden. If it's easy, it probably won't last. These rules feel like wisdom, but they're just patterns. This isn't theory. This is your nervous system adapting. Each time you let something good and even a little without pushback, you prove to your body that urgency is not keeping you safe. You unpair pleasure from punishment. You link receiving to relaxation, not tension. Most people skip this step. They rush to results. They think opening up is about setting goals. It's not. It's about sitting with the tiny expansions, no performance, no chase, just presence. Silence is one of the cleanest examples. When someone gives you space to speak, how quickly do you fill it? Do you rush to be efficient, to save them time, to not be too much? Sometimes the highest form of receiving is allowing yourself to take up a little more air, a little more space, without flinching. That's nervous system safety. Live not theorized. Anchor this once. Repeat when it wobbles. Let people help, even just a little. Don't shrink from the next. Compliment, hold it for a second. Let it be simple. Accept payment without performance. Receive silence without apology. You don't have to fix it. You only have to notice and not run. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be true. This is practice. Build capacity, not speed. There's nothing to prove. The moment you make this shift, your body will push back with old noise. That's normal. Stay in the room. You may not feel different right away. It's supposed to be slow. Let yourself finally receive in minutes, in words, in dollars, in a quiet room. Wealth comes in, not with a bang, but in the way your system lets it be safe to land and stay. That's the practice. That's the work. That's quiet power. Everything shifts when you stop performing and start containing your experience, not as a sign of withdrawal, but as proof you're stable at the root. That's where the real emotional wealth sits. It isn't an accomplishment. It's your baseline when urgency goes silent. Let that land. You already know the difference between operating from reactivity and from ground. When you regulate into the new baseline, your nervous system does the heavy lifting for you. Less effort, more order. That's not theory. That's your biology. This is where peace stops being something to chase and starts being what you enforce. The 3 quiet shifts weren't tactics to master, but calls to reset your minimum standard. When you choose containment over constant motion, your decisions get cleaner. Think back. How many times did you override your body to perform? At home, in your office. With money, how many times did you fill empty space with urgency just so guilt wouldn't take over? Let's anchor what you already know. Real wealth can't be rushed. If you push, nervous system chaos follows. If you pause, order rebuilds. There's nothing dramatic about it. The discipline is staying with this truth, especially on quiet days, with no performance to measure. Here is what I want you to try. Next time you feel urgency creeping in, when plans start falling apart, or a deal goes sour, or you wake up to silence instead of go mode, don't fill the space opposite. Let the discomfort come up. The reflex to fix is the old muscle. The new baseline is containment. Give yourself the length of a song or the span of a walk just to notice what settles. This isn't spiritual. It's neurological. That's what we're rebuilding. Let your body learn that safety comes from what you don't do. Integration isn't about holding on or pushing through. It's what happens when you become the source of order, so outside swings, money, moods, outcomes lose their control over you. That's what happens when your nervous system stops. Outsourcing safety. It doesn't have to be dramatic to be true. There's a moment after a tense call or a market drop where your old instinct is action. Fire off in a mail. Pull some strings. Tighten your grip. The new order is letting the wave pass, then moving from clarity, not adrenaline. This is where most people get stuck. They confuse calm for passivity. They think emotional wealth is sedating, when it's actually the opposite. Calm is alert. It's regulated, not resigned. There's space between the event and your response. And that space is the new degree of self-governance. The real men and women who build quietly, who stay the course during droughts and run-ups, are the ones who treat that gap as sacred. Every time you let emotion run its cycle without managing it, you anchor new circuitry, step by step, moment by moment. If this shows up in your week, pause there. When you end your workday and your mind begs for another round of to-dos, practice letting the clock be the authority. If you're eating and checking your phone out habit, set the phone in another room for 10 minutes. See what anxiety tries to fill. Call it boredom, call it agitation, but don't move. Let the system downshift. These aren't acts of control, but of trust in your own structure. My rest is an asset. My structure is a shield, not a prison. My clarity is enough, even when nothing is urgent. These are modern affirmations. They're not wishful. They're regulatory anchors for how you conduct yourself, no matter how loud things get. Here is how you can repeat, expand as you build this muscle, not for the dopamine hit, but for a new normal. I let rest become part of my routine without apology. I see stillness as evidence I'm safe, not falling behind. I choose clean boundaries, even when no one is watching. I respond from clarity, not fear. I close loops with integrity, not urgency. I trust my process, even when it's quiet. I build. I don't chase. Let that land. The end is never a climax. It's a return. Nobody will see this from the outside. That's how you know it's real. Integration isn't instant. It's earned by what you choose every day. The next time you want to prove, perform, or outrun silence, anchor down. Breathe. You aren't here to demonstrate value. You're here to remain undisturbed. So your discipline has a chance to work. The new wealth isn't more control. It's clean distance from the chaos. Say it 3 times, whether in your mind or aloud. Every time the cycle tries to run you, quiet wealth is built on capacity. Quiet wealth is built on capacity. Quiet wealth is built on capacity. Let that become your return point whenever you need it. The quiet millionaire isn't a performance. It's your internal order, reestablished. There's nothing to prove. Let the work settle.